So it's my esteemed pleasure to welcome, as part of the Kurly Meets series, it's Mr. Simon Pitfield, Mr. Pitfield, Spitfire, Simon.
Spitfire, whatever. Simon, I think, is the easiest.
Simon, brilliant. We'll keep it nice and simple with Simon, brilliant. So, Simon, it's been a real pleasure meeting you. We had a little meet and greet. You was one of the poets from the region that came through. You're here at the studios now. We've had a little chat. You've recorded some poems. Obviously, writing seems to be a default kind of way for you to kind of express yourself. Has it always been through poetry?
Mostly. Certainly that's where I started when I was young. When I was at school, very influenced by reading people like Ted Hughes and Sylvia Plath, a bit of T.S. Eliot as well. And so poetry was where I started. As I got older, sort of in my 20s, I thought I might be a novelist, and it turned out I wasn't. As a teacher, I've written a number of school plays, so I'm more of a sort of jack of all trades and not really a master of anything, but I'll have a go at most forms of writing.
Lovely, lovely. You sound like your average everyday human being, experimenting, trying different things out, seeing what's for you. It's all part of that journey and that process. And so, like, in terms of the art form of poetry, I know you mentioned you're a teacher as well, and just so happens you taught at my old secondary school, or you still teach there now, which is fantastic.
Hall Green, yep, let's hear it for Hall Green.
Right. Yeah, let's actually hear it for Hall Green. Hall Green is out there, so it's for you. So you started teaching there in 98, was it?
Yeah.
All right, so it was a little bit after I left, but still, it seems like a lot of the teachers that my generation would have grown up with, the class of 94.
Yeah.
Which is great. So, in terms of the arts and such, how do you see it impacting young people, or for better or worse?
I think it's really, really important to give young people access to art in every variety of forms, because it's such an important tool for self-expression. It's such an important tool for sort of validating your finding your place in the world and allowing your viewpoint, your standpoint to be heard. And it's a way for accessing your feelings and hearing other people's feelings and ideas, and developing empathy and a much wider understanding of the community that we're all part of. Citizens
of the world, as we are.
Absolutely.
There's new terms that you're hearing now, intersectionality. That's a term I've recently picked up, different lived experiences. Yeah. And we also hear these buzzwords as well, like here, cultural capital, how important that is in schools and developing young people's awareness and empathy, which will obviously shape how they walk in the world when they leave school. At school at the moment, have you kind of picked up anything in terms of young people's interpretation of the world changing as a result of lockdown, or is there anything particularly you've seen in terms of well-being or particular issues since lockdown?
I think there is a clear impact in terms of their ability to relate with each other, to collaborate, to share ideas, to listen to other people's ideas. A year and a half of not really being able to do that has clearly had an impact on some of them, and it makes it quite difficult for them to progress as quickly as their teachers would like them to. I think also because of the primacy that the internet assumed over those sort of 18 months, 2 years, I think there have been a number of influences that perhaps haven't been challenged as much as they need to be, or at least questioned and explored properly, because they didn't have the people around them to help with that. I don't know. But at the same time, there's lots of young people still with really good ideas, imaginative ideas, And if we can encourage them to share those constructively and positively, and as you say, we're building up a pool of cultural capital that will allow them to grow as young people and develop into sort of empathetic adults.
It's so important for the outcome and health and well-being of relationships, which will in turn determine the well-being of them as well inside, I suppose, as well, because we are social beings after all. And the more we understand about other people, the more we can understand about ourselves as well. So in terms of the teaching element, and from what you've seen and experienced, and perhaps it might be, things that you hear from other teachers as well within the industry, within the teaching profession, what do you think would be of benefit for young people? Do you think? What do you think that the education system could do with probably more of, do you reckon?
I think it needs more space for young people to be creative. It's almost as if in about 2010 someone sat down with the Pink Floyd image of kids being fed into a mincer and churned out as wriggling pink worms at the other end, and designed a system that was intent on producing that. Young people are under so much pressure, and one set of exams crammed into 6 weeks in their 16th year, and it's having an adverse impact on their mental health, clearly. So we need to design a system that has more space, a system perhaps that has smaller consequences lower down, rather than the first serious consequence some people meet being these all-important GCSEs. But we need to give them time and space to read and explore art and music and literature in all sorts of ways. We need to make sure that the young people are able to see themselves in the literature we're making them study. Because if you can't see something, it's much, much harder to be it. So they need to see diverse young people presented in the books they're reading, in the artwork they're studying, and we need to design a kinder curriculum for our students.
Hey, that's great. That's wonderful. And obviously, being a teacher yourself, the pupils are obviously lucky to have a teacher like yourself who can empathise with the task that they're presented with, and obviously parents as well. And I guess these are stories, these things that you've probably heard other teachers talking about as well.
Definitely.
Wow. Okay. So that's great for the future, hopefully, of teaching. If somehow we can make some changes in that regard, that'd be amazing. And so you yourself in poetry, what are your aims and ambitions for the next 5-10 years, perhaps? I don't know.
10
2
years.
months.
10 years seems a bit ambitious. I don't know. I think just to be able to keep meeting other poets, sharing poetry with other poets and with people who want to listen to poetry. I think there's a bigger audience out there than many people are aware of. And I think, if I can use my poetry to share ideas that other people find useful, helpful, encouraging, or if I can share poetry that makes other people think, you know what, I can do better than that. I'm going to do some. Either way, I think it's just about making art relevant to people's lives and allowing people to expand their lives and their attitudes and their views through their own art and through listening to other people's. Listening to your poetry, or Dreadlock Alien or Spoz or any of the other important poets around Birmingham, and being inspired.
Fabulous. And just before we leave, I just wanted to mention as well, the Hall Green's Got Talent, because you guys are actually doing something about creating some space as well, which is awesome. So how's that going? How's that going with the Hall Green's Got Talent?
Well, we run a sort of talent show every year at the school. I'm sure a lot of other schools do something similar, but it's just a really, really good way to celebrate things that you might not realise that some of these young people can do, and their peers might not realise until they see them, sitting up on a stage, playing the drums, belting out a song, dancing, doing magic, reading poetry. We've had our first poet at Hall Green's Got Talent this year. So big up to Yanis.
Big up Yanis. And Simon, I really appreciate your time coming in and doing some recordings today. So we're going to listen to some of Simon's poems right now.
And it's called Hive Mind. The hive mind waits and anticipates and creates a safe space to go face to face with our nation, our metrical mates, our alliterative assonant associates, our rhythmical rhyming race, to state our case, to stake our space in that community, to become encased in the unity, an opportunity to inhale Odin's poetical fury and lunacy and condense it. And that density and lyrical intensity propels our propensity to represent this immense city. And hence it is that we convene here this evening for readings that we need to read, for readings that we need to heed and receive, grieving or believing or retrieving by means of this meeting of minds, feelings that we need not be leaving behind. A storm of performance in a variety of forms doesn't have to conform to the norm, breaks away with all the urgency of thaumaturgy, and as we swarm, the hive mind waits and anticipates and creates a space for first-timers and old rhymers, for broken angels and perfect strangers who fly under the radar to evoke all sorts of unspoken thoughts. And these local hordes use their vocal cords to pour spoken word into hexagons like lexicons of runny, sunny, yellow honey, delirious, imperious, serious or funny. No appearance money here, we just appear, no fuss. The hive mind hears all of us, incomer or brummy. No fuss about status when the hive mind awaits us. That's why I came here today, just freeing my words from the page, because the feeling of being on stage is contagious. I'm not outrageous, I don't feel courageous, but I just want to say just how much I appreciate this careful attention to my verbal invention. It steals the nerve, it provides the verve, the verbal swerve that curves the words that serve to subvert the universe. We find we come alive in this hive that we've contrived. 5 minutes to unbind our minds, unblind our eyes. No poet declined or left behind, held safe within the graceful redemption of the kindness of our own kind, held safe within the careful attention of the hive mind.
Eternal Superhumans. The teachers have it easy, the teachers have it soft. Just look at all those holidays, their snouts are in the trough. The teachers are all militants, the teachers are all trots. The teachers are all junkies and illiterates and sots. The teachers have no morals, the teachers have no shame. Forget about the bankers, the teachers are to blame. The teachers are degenerate, the teachers are a threat. The teachers haven't had the half of what they're gonna get. The teachers don't look healthy. The teachers don't smell fresh. Let's replace them with some teenager from Taiwan or Bangladesh. The teachers do their shopping. The teachers pay their bills. The teachers pick their children up. The teachers all feel ill. They try to make appointments. You can hear them moan and groan. You can hear the tinny Mozart as they're holding on the phone. For anything that happens, the teachers are to blame. The parties during lockdown, the strikes that stopped the train, the PPE debacle and the polio in the drains, annexing the Crimea and invading the Ukraine. The young ones all look frightened. The old ones look half dead. They all look like they wish that they were somewhere else instead. They're sitting in the staff room. They're sitting in their cars. They're sitting at the traffic lights. They're sitting at the bar. They dream of smaller classes. They dream of higher pay. They dream of longer lunch hours and a shorter working day. The teachers go to meetings and then they meet some more. They think things could be better, but they're not entirely sure. The teachers work past midnight. They've rings around their eyes. They yawn their way through lessons and then eat all the pies. The teachers play the lottery. The teachers do the pools. The teachers face a battery of self-important fools. The outlook is depressing, the prognosis pretty grim. They worry in the bathtub, they worry at the gym, they worry at the bus stop and waiting for a train. They know they shouldn't worry, but they simply can't refrain. It consumes their waking hours, it swallows up their lives. It keeps them from their children and their husbands and their wives. They're wishing for the weekend and the day they get their pay. They're wishing for the holidays, they wish their life away. The teachers make a difference. The teachers do their best. The teachers put a smile on even when they are depressed. The teachers try to listen. The teachers try to help. The teachers lend out ballpoints and the books upon their shelf. The teachers mark the planning. The teachers mark the draft. The teachers mark the rewrite of that tricky paragraph. They run the extra sessions. They run the catch-up class. They wash the kit and mark the pitch, and then they cut the grass. They get to know their tutor groups. They write them birthday cards. They mentor them each morning and greet them on the yard. The teachers write the reference. They put it in the file. They help with the CV and then they go the extra mile. The teachers write revision books or order study guides. They copy practice papers and other stuff besides. They know pi to 7 places. They can classify the fox. The teachers design pizzas, T-shirts, pencil pots and clocks. The teachers all know glaciers and how to play the bass, the rising of the Nazis and the first men into space. They run the lunchtime sessions and the after-hours clubs. They stay on with the pupils instead of going to the pub. They explain the tricky topics, explain them twice, and then, for those who were not listening, explain them once again. The teachers are on Zoom, the teachers are on Teams, and in the wee small hours they're teaching in their dreams. The teachers are ignored at best. At worst, they are reviled for trying to improve the lives of every single child. The teachers all love Greta. They love Malala too. They're fans of Marcus Rashford, and the teachers all love you. They like Amanda Gorman and the poem that she read, but most of all, they'd really like an extra hour in bed. They share enthusiasm. The teachers are inspired. The teachers are inspiring, but mostly they're just tired. The teachers make revision plans for pupils in a flap, and when the carers need a boost, they stand outside and clap. It isn't just the teachers. TAs are crucial too for doing all the things the teachers have no time to do. The teachers have no Batmobile, no secret identity. They haven't worn a cape since they collected their degree. They look like normal mortals. They look like you and me, but they're eternal superhumans. B.Ed. PGCE.